We're starting right at 10 o'clock on the dot. We will be done at 11 o'clock on the dot.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, Sam.
Hi.
Chanel, I see you. I see your picture. Hey, Chanel.
Good morning, everybody. I'm also in Florida, Sean. I'm in Bradenton, Florida.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so I'm going to be off camera, you guys, because I'm handling my son. He's moving down here, so we're just
Good.
had
I
a
knew
few
you were out of
minutes.
town.
So, yeah,
No worries. Thanks for joining us.
absolutely. Thank you.
All right, it is 10 o'clock,
It is
Miss
10
Nicole.
o'clock.
Let's rock and roll.
Let's rock and roll. So good morning, everybody, and welcome to Digital Networking 2022. I'm Nicole Lewis, president of NABO Greater Detroit and CEO of Nicole Lewis and Associates. My most important job here today is twofold. One is to thank GM for sponsoring this amazing experience with Dr. Sean. So we need everybody to give a clap, a hand clap for GM. Every year they come through with new and exciting things for us to experience. They are major advocates for us, and so we appreciate them. The second thing that I want to do is really to introduce a woman who many of you know, if not by reputation personally, but the phenomenal Dr. Sean Deepen. Did I say it right? Did I say it right?
Very French.
Yes. So for those of you that don't know Dr. Sean, that doctor comes from that PhD in communication, and I love this, expertise in good gossip. She's considered to be one of the most innovative speakers and consultants on engagement today. Her social reach, this is amazing, tops 100 million a month. That's crazy, right? And that's why we're glad she's here to help us. She is a 6-time Emmy winner. That's huge, right? And has been featured in a lot of global media, including CNN, ABC, the Wall Street Journal, USA Today. We could go on and on, but we don't have that much time. Her expertise is considered leading edge, and her known for her disruptive strategies. One of the things that I really want you to know about her, which I just learned, is that her work really garnered endorsement from someone that I consider a personal hero, and that is the late Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And so if it was good enough for Tutu, we are truly blessed to have her with us here today. And one other kudo about her, and congrats on this, is that she was a nominee for a 2016 Nobel Peace Prize for her work on global leadership. So with that, I'm going to shut up, but I just want you to know that who's in the house with us today, and who's going to bring us the news, the good news about how to network better. And we're eager to hear from you, Dr. Sean, so take it away.
Thank you so much. Beautiful intro, how kind. And even you mentioning Father Tutu hits emotion, because he was an amazing human being. If you ever had the opportunity to see him, read his books, or even meet him, he's an amazing human being. Okay, so hi everybody. I'm tickled to be here. I am tickled that GM values Noble Greater Detroit chapter and women business owners, and to even sponsor a program like this. I want to shout out Nicole and Charmaine. You've both been exquisite in making this happen, and even our next month's event happen. And we are recording for many reasons. When we go into groups, your private conversations will not be recorded, okay? So how I thought I would start this today, I'm going to share my screen. And here, let's make this big. Voila, here we go. How I thought I would start this today is kind of like to grab the essence of how many of us might be feeling right now with everything, pandemic, racial inequality, voting stuff. There's so much stuff going on right now. And then to have to step into conversations around social media, which can be daunting themselves. Here it is in a nutshell. Seriously. And many times when we think of digital networking or social, this is kind of how it feels. And my job today, I've got you for 1 hour. As soon as we get through a couple of groups, I'm going to move so fast with material. And because I want to give you some peace, I want to give you some peace as a woman business owner. Many of us are one-man bands. And even if you're going to delegate your social media, so you have some more compassion and some more forgiveness for yourself for not having to frickin' do it all, because you don't. And so what my game today is to shift that conversation around overwhelm or confusion. This is the epitome of confusion to me. If you don't see it, the dog is drinking the shadow water in terms of confusion, okay? So with that said, the context, I have a context that's kind of like behind the curtains as we move through this. The first one is this notion of what are you broadcasting? I assert you're your own TV station, your own radio station. You give off a vibe. You are broadcasting something. And in my world, the game is to be congruent in your social, congruent on all platforms that you choose to be on, congruent when you're at church, that you're the same person when you're with your family, that you're the same person at a networking event. And, you know, if you know me or met me, I am the same presenting on a Zoom as I am on consulting, as I am on training 10,000 people in a day boot camp. This is who I am and what you're going to get. So mastering that congruency is such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And one idea that my company is congruent on is we've gotten good at the social media because of my expertise in gossip theory. I'll talk about that in just a short time. We really teach high pressure communication. We play in high pressure. We play in media skills. And in our world, media interviewing is the highest skill set you can have. You can sit on CNN with 1 million people watching and be so comfortable in your skin and just be so grounded. You can do it freaking everywhere. And what we've noticed, though, when companies get media training, you might get media trained, then a year later you go on media. That doesn't work because you don't remember anything. So we model everything that we do on how does it relate to a media interview, whether you're having a conflict resolution conversation, whether you're hiring somebody, firing somebody, being on a panel. So we're in that mode of constantly media training. So that's our thing. So someone else needs to mute if you don't mind. That would be so great. Next context is perceptions. New perceptions alter your destiny. New perceptions alter your destiny. And you're going to see social very differently today, because I want to expand some critical thinking skills about how you're going to choose to do some social media, really strategic thinking. And it's in this realm of making the unconscious conscious, making the unconscious conscious. And I assert, as leaders and leaders of our own businesses, that we make decisions all the time. Some we're aware of, some we're not aware of at all. And we get more facility and more exquisiteness when we start making more and more conscious choices, okay? Because as a business owner, one of your responsibilities is not only to grow your business, to grow your brand, and it's ultimately to grow yourself, because you're in a position of extreme power to impact those around you. And in my world, there's nothing more exquisite than growing yourself and looking at yourself. And number 3, where to go, is to ingest a little bit of fun. Who else is like tired, stressed out? Give me that. Okay, so we're going to ingest a little fun. And the way that I want to do that is with some chat shortcuts. So as we're going through this, I'm not personally going to be paying attention to the chat, because I'm going to be deeply focused on getting this material that I think is valuable to you. And Ednice has got my back there, and you'll meet her in just a second. And so if anytime you have a new perception, you can type in the word aha. If I happen to work with someone, if it works out that way as we're moving through this, put in there me too, so people don't feel alone. And it's just a great way to connect. And any moment you're feeling joy, or you're laughing, you're feeling gratitude, put thank you, GM. This is so authentic to me. When I have sponsors for events like this, with particularly here with Novel, I pick companies that I love, because with gossip theory, I cannot talk about a company without being in love with them. It's inauthentic. You want to ask me about certain cell phone companies, I can tell you one I don't like, which I'm not going to do on class. I will never endorse them, because there's many reasons why. All right, so here's the chat shortcuts. Here's what they might look like. Here's what a new perception can look like. This is more for those that are really leaning into understanding white privilege. For many of us in that leaning, this is an aha. Here's a me too. Anybody can relate to that. And then, of course, feeling a little bit of joy or gratitude. Here's an example. I love it. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of connecting, and your first task is to answer these questions. Now, Ednice is on the Zoom. Ednice is the Zoom master. She is also a woman-owned business, and she's hireable. And I can honestly say, we were talking about just before we started, that I think she's the best Zoom person I've ever met. She's that good. Not only is she kind, loving, she is spot on, she gets it handled, she's gracious, and she's affordable. And so at the end, when I have ways to reach me, you can reach out to me and I can connect you with Ednice if you're needing some support around Zoom. So this is what you're going to do. We're going to throw you into groups in a second. You see what it says. This is what it looked like. Well, hey, I'm Dr. Sean. My business is Sean TV and Project Forgive. One sentence that describes my business: consulting and training with a focus on leadership as a forgiveness tool, because you can accept the apology you'll never receive. And then when it comes to social media, I feel joy and frustration, truly. Now, one more thing before we go into groups, I want you to practice this. It's best if we show a video because you can feel it and see it rather than me describing it. It's called the cycle of reciprocity. It's a giving and receiving that happens. All right, let me stop, Sherry. Come on, there we go. Okay, now with that said, as you go into groups, I'm going to tell you who's going to go first. Have you ever been on a Zoom where you go into groups and there's just not enough time? It's just like, dang, nobody even got to talk. So the reason we have the 4 questions, and Denise has probably already put them in the chat, is you're going to do a round robin. There's going to be 4 of you. Get through that quickly so everybody gets in there and gets something to share. Okay, let everybody talk. And then you'll have a few minutes left over because we're going to go for 10 minutes to expand on that, connect, say what you need to say. The person that's going to go first, we're going to use the alphabet. So if your first name is Ann, you're going first and then you're in charge. You're living large and you're in charge. So then you're going to call on the next people. Because like sometimes the first 2 minutes is trying to figure out who's going to lead it. You ever been there? You're just like, oh my gosh, just go. So we're going to start with the first name. Anika, you're going first if your name's Anika. Got it? If there's no one with an A, the first person is Donna, Donna's it. Got it? All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to do those 4 things. Ednice is going to throw you in 10 minutes, Miss Ednice. Let's go. All right, great. Here comes everybody back. Welcome back, everybody. All right, we got everyone back. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a little bit more PowerPoint and do some explaining about strategy, and then we're going to actually go on some platforms, and I'm going to give you some resources and some things to think about, okay? So give me thumbs up. Good meeting. Did everybody get to talk? That was the biggest goal. Yay. I love when that happens. All right, let me share my screen. All right, let me make it big. All right, as we go into this conversation, you can read. This is about congruency that I started with at the top of this. And this is 80% is good enough. Perfectionism never works in social because the algorithms, everything on every single platform is changing constantly. So you might get in a rhythm with something and then you go to do something else and you can't even do that anymore. So it's a flux of constant change. And it's hard during all this uproar and crises that we're going through because we're in so much change emotionally, personally, in our businesses, and then to have to deal with all the changes of social. That's why it's so stressful in my estimation. And Nicole did allude to that I do have an expertise in gossip. And when you think about gossip, you think it's mean and nasty. The research doesn't show that at all. Only about 5 to 7% of gossip is actually negative. Gossip is the best word of mouth. It's the best way to engage. And it says a lot about a word where it comes from. The word gossip comes from the word God sib, meaning close to God. And what would happen in the 8th, 9th, and 10th centuries, the doulas would deliver babies and they would spread the precious news that a child of God was born.
Oh.
So isn't that cool? And so what I'm about to introduce you to is to challenge your critical thinking skills and think about social in a different way. And usually when we think about social, it's like, okay, how can I grow my email list? How can I make money? How do I do this? Blah, blah, ads, discounts, all that. I come from a very different model. And before I talk about this model, I just want to tell you, I made it up based on gossip theory. It works because we do reach millions, okay? And it's like, gossip theory is like this. Like me and my husband will go through the sub where we live, and we'll pass by a house that has 20 cars around it. And he always, every time he says, oh, we weren't invited to that party. You know, there's a big party there. It's biologically and anthropologically wired in us to want to connect where there's masses. And so we tap into that. And so we're all about revving up reach, growing the following, going live on your platform, whatever, and actually ingesting with what people really want and need. And I'm talking specifically about Facebook, although this can apply to all platforms, because most what works on Facebook in particular is inspiring posts. Roseanne and I were talking just before, like when I want clients, I'm on LinkedIn. When I want to make an impact on my influence with my clients, my influence is what I focus on Facebook. So it's a different kind of model. We buy 0 ads. And I'll talk about ratios between inspiring posts and business content, particularly on Facebook and LinkedIn as well. The ratios would be smaller. So let's, for instance, inspiring posts, rev up the algorithm, because if you are just posting business posts on Facebook in particular, no one sees them. No one cares. They are not anywhere. That's not what the bulk of people go on Facebook to do, is to get business information. They go on Facebook to laugh, to connect, to share with their families, to see funny posts, to be inspired. Some people particularly love to fight. Those people aren't in my feed. And some people do that just to feel some kind of a charge or feel alive by fighting. So meeting people where they are to take them where you want them to go, that's what our model really does. So I'm going to give you some techniques and some tools that are going to help you with this realm of engagement. And here is the thing that's most important. And, you know, I see a lot of social media experts. I see a lot of social media training. 2 things about it. First, if you got a social media expert training you, or you're watching them, or they want to work with you, look at their social media. If their social media is not growing high engagement, they're not the social media person for you. Anybody can just put stuff on a platform so you have a presence, but that's like noise. It's noise. What's really cool is, let's say you sell cakes, for instance, and you're not selling it on Facebook. Let's say you talk about it on LinkedIn. Someone's going to go look you up on the other platforms. So you're going to look on Facebook, and if they see you have 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 likes, they automatically, just like my husband with the people with the cars in the driveway, go, ooh, people like this. It's a level of credibility and influence that helps push people over to purchase your product. So that influence is what I really want to help you grow in. So with that said, here's the second thing about social media. Deep breath, everybody. You do not need to be on all these platforms. It's a myth. It's a lie. Let me come back. Here's the straight talk for me. I can't stand Twitter. Twitter is painful for me. Between our 2 accounts, we have 100,000 followers. It's all political fighting. Not one client has ever hired me on Twitter. So check mark, they're out of there. I still have a presence there. That's not where I play and put energy and strategy. Instagram's lovely. I think we got like 50,000 followers on Instagram. My clients are not there. My clients are on LinkedIn. So the platform I care about is LinkedIn, highly. I also care about Facebook because I get to show off, and I mean that with humility, that I have influence and I know how to do this. So when someone goes on LinkedIn, a lot of corporations, we work with a lot of corporations, they go to our Facebook page to see what we're doing. They just go, dang. So it's to tip people over in selling. So it's a different kind of way to look at it. So I just want you to hear that. What I want you to do next is, Ednice is going to put you in groups. You're going to go in groups for 10 minutes. You can put 4 or 5, Ednice, different people this time. Make sure everybody has a chance to talk. I want you to pick your number one platform that resonates for you the most, where you get clients. If you don't get clients from Instagram, if you, let's say you're a beauty shop owner and you work with new students coming out of hair salons, I don't know what platform you would pick. Would it be LinkedIn? Would it be Instagram? Where are they? Maybe Instagram is a place for you to play. Maybe TikTok is a place for you to play. Where do you currently get clients now? That's where you want to put your energy. Because in my world, as a business owner, I see all these 5 platforms as 5 different businesses because the strategies are all different. The last thing you ever want to do is put up a post on Facebook and put the same post on every platform. You do not want to do that because someone likes you, they check you out, they're going to go check you out on other platforms. And if it's the same content on every platform, it defeats the purpose and they're not going to follow you there. So that's just noise. Okay. So pick a platform. What's the reasoning behind it? LinkedIn is my number 1. Facebook is my number 2. You can have 1, you can have 2. Ednice is going to throw you into groups. Let's go 10 minutes, go, and use the same methodology to have someone lead only from the end of the alphabets. The person at the end of the alphabet, if your name is Yolanda, you're going first and you're large and in charge. Wonderful. Everybody, y'all's coming back. Everybody's coming back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Just, I want to say a couple of shout outs. I see you, Barb, and I see you, Lynn. Yep. Some Charlotte. It's nice.
Love to you, girl.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so glad you guys are here. Okay, if you picked a platform, out of anything you get out today, that is the one thing that's going to give you peace and release. Pick a platform. It's that simple. So I'm about to go live online and I'm going to move very quickly. You can take pictures. I'm going to give the best pieces of advice that I think are most relevant for engagement, particularly on Facebook. And I'll do some caveats for LinkedIn and such as I move through it. So let's get rocking and rolling. Okay. For those that are wondering, why do we go through all the rigmarole before we start in something like this? It's because there's so much stress and anxiety in the world overall. And there's a lot of stress around social media. So it's more about getting grounded in our bodies, connecting, being connected soul to soul so we can actually grasp the information. Okay, so this is Project Forgive. Let me refresh it just so it's right on time. A couple of things I want you to notice. I'm just moving stuff over so I can really see. And sometimes on Zoom's websites are a little bit slower. That's why I got everything opened up. This will be the only one I refresh. Okay, so this is our Facebook page, or one of our main one. First thing I just want you to see, I want you to see this cover. This will increase engagement if you give space on this side and on this side. You follow me? Put your content here. When you look at it on a desktop, it looks a little strange. On mobile, which is where 89% of people are on Facebook, it will look centered. So as soon as you put up your cover photo, go on the phone and see what it looks like on your phone, okay? Now, a couple of things about numbers, all right? Here we go. All right, so we just put up our store, so we're just starting to play with our store. You want to pin to the top your most reached post. For us, it's a little bit different because we're in that million range. So our strategies are a little bit different than yours because we have posts that are higher than 60,000 shares. This one came out December 22nd. That's pretty good, 60,000 shares at this point. So you want to pin the post that's doing well. It's that same philosophy and gossip theory. People come to your page and then they see there's a party going on and they want to play. This is another thing I want you to look at. Like right now, let me just go up here. Right now, we're reaching 9 million. Okay. Facebook always does this. It always says we're in the negatives. At Christmas time, we're at 22 million. 3 days ago, we're at 8 million. Today, we're at 9 million. These numbers are more about, in my opinion, my humble opinion, I don't know for sure. And I think it's more about Facebook wanting you to buy ads and to do posts and all that. Here's what I want to say about posts. Boosting posts. Have you guys heard of boosting posts? Give me some thumbs up so I know that you've heard of this. Do not boost. Boosting is like aspartame, diet sugar, diet soda. You drink diet soda so you can lose weight when actually the aspartame makes you crave sugar, so it defeats the purpose. And you want to start attracting people because they love the content you're putting up. They feel inspired by you. That's one of the main reasons that you do not want to do the boosting, because it doesn't work. It might even impact overall organic engagement. Ads and all that, different conversation for another day. Okay. All right. So posts that share. Inspirational posts work. That's what people share. This one was day after Christmas. Did exquisite. Positive posts work. It's hard to wrap your brain around instant gratification. And I think of that marshmallow test study, if you've ever seen that study, where 4-year-olds are given, in one hand, they're given 1 marshmallow, and the other hand, they're given 5. And they said, you can eat, to the 4-year-old, you can eat the 1 marshmallow right now, or you can wait 5 minutes and eat these 5. Most 4-year-olds have to have that marshmallow and shovel it in their mouth. They have to do it. That's why the conversation of picking a platform and why you want that platform. Facebook is about influence for us. I don't know many small businesses that have over 1 million likes. I don't know many. I know some are. Most aren't. If they're doing really well, they're in the 20,000 to the 40,000 range on Facebook. And if you can inspire yourself to do inspiring posts, because that's what the world needs now, that's a great way to start. And as you start revving up the algorithm and people are engaging with your positive posts, then you can start incorporating some business content. Now, and I love the ratio of 10 positive posts to 1 business post on Facebook. On LinkedIn, it can be every other, because that is a business platform. Although inspirational posts work on LinkedIn too. Barb, I see yours all the time, right? One of the things that you do on Facebook that I love is you celebrate people's birthdays. I always get your cards. It just always feels good whenever I see your posts. Okay, back to posts that share. I have a large 45 to 65-year-old following on Facebook. So my grandma posts do really well. This just went out the other day. They do really, really well. And I love grandma posts because I'm a grandma. You following? You can self-serve yourself. And I would only put up inspiring posts that inspire you because it's your vibe, your energy. It's about back to that conversation on congruency that we had. Here's one of my business partners, Randy. His thing is compassion. He's one of my business partners. He talks a lot about kindness. I just want you to see, you in different days, you'll see a post like this. This was just shared yesterday, and it's already got 11,000 shares. He's high in the algorithms right now. And what happens with Facebook, it is kind of like the stock market. Sometimes you're revving up, sometimes you're revving down. Especially when we work with clients, we teach them it's not that freaking deep. Go with the flow. It always goes up and down, especially as Facebook changes things. Other posts that work really well. Questions. And you can see a lot of the questions seem to be vintagey because the bulk of people on Facebook right now are in that 40 to 70 range. And that's a great place to do influence because they don't leave the platform. And it's a great place to grow your influence if you want to create a party and start doing that as an influencer in your business. Here, you can also do stories. This is on our Dr. Sean page. This story's done wonderful. And we actually do these stories and sell them and guarantee we'll make a story go viral. This one's already reached 8 million and it's already gotten 60,000 shares. Just beautiful stories, work really, really well too. The reason I put positive thinking veterans up, and this is one thing Roseanne and I talked about at the start of the call, right when we signed up. Their strategy on Facebook is not to get people into their organization. They service veteran-owned businesses. They do that on LinkedIn, which is their primary. On Facebook, they're revving up their engagement, revving up their shareability for their sponsors. Because when they have a golf outing, oh yeah, the sponsorship is 20,000. If you'd like us to mention you in our social media, our Facebook page, we're at 40,000 right now. We just started the page in June of last year. It's been 6 months. The page is at 40,000 likes, reaching about 1 to 2 million. And we're doing a lot of inspiring with the strategy about getting sponsors, okay? Here's another client of ours. Her name is Dr. Deb. I want you to notice the name of her page is Think Positive. Another strategy when you start a page, and this is a marshmallow conversation because it's slow gratification. Her page is not called RIM Institute. That's what she does. She works with corporations. Her reach, now what's her reach at? Her reach is at, I'm kind of blocked here, is at 350. She's doing really well. This is an SEO search. When you go into Facebook, people do SEO searches. They might put in positivity, they might put in life lessons, they might put positive quotes. My Dr. Sean page used to be called Positive Life with Dr. Sean. And as soon as it passed 100,000 likes, I shifted it over to Dr. Sean. I was willing to wait for my 5 marshmallows. It's a long-term game. No one I know gets instant growth on Facebook. It takes time and effort and energy. And that's something you have to consider if that's an influence game that you want to play. Now, I'm going to give you a few resources. When you're making posters, I love PicMonkey. I know a lot of people use Canva. PicMonkey has a free version, and I have the upgraded premium version, which is $90 a year. It's worth every single cent. I'm not going to walk through this to show you how to do this. This will be a class all on its own. I just want you to be aware of it. And PicMonkey.com, Ednice will put up there. Here's another one. Pixabay. This is a great place to get free photos, free backgrounds, free anything. Here, even let me just do this. Let's put in nature. Let's see what kind of background we get for nature. Okay, when you look at these, you're like, oh, these are great. This right here would be an awful picture for a background for a post. It's way too busy. You won't be able to read it. We're going to get to that in just a second. Like, this might be a great background if you cropped it like this. Okay, so Pixabay is a great one. Free Pick is my favorite. I pay for this. I think it's $100 a year, maybe $88 a year. It's exquisite. I can put in vectors. I can put in, like, if I just want people's faces, if I want a grandma, let's just do grandma. Oops, grandma smiling, because I do a lot with grandmas for influence. I get all kinds of stuff, and lots of diversity. It's one of the reasons why I like PicMonkey. Okay, so PicMonkey is another resource. Another free one is Burst by Spotify. Shopify. Burst.shopify.com, great place to get pictures and such. Now, I just want to talk about the pictures in general, okay? Now this is an example. I don't want you to know who this person is. I know her really well. I've had conversations with her. These posts don't work because almost 90% of people are on Facebook in particular on their phone. Instagram, LinkedIn, that ratio sometimes is even higher depending upon what research you look at. And your posts, the biggest obstacle to people sharing your stuff is they can't read it, they can't see it, it's too busy or it's too small. So I'm just going to go through these and show you. It's on a phone, this is really hard to see, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on LinkedIn, it's hard to see if you're on your phone. I personally, even though we do Project Forgive, we stay away from, don't get me wrong, I'm a Jesus girl, we stay away from political posts and religious posts because we are inclusive. We want to include everybody. And you can, just the way the climate is right now, you can start a freaking war. With just even talking about God in particular, it's kind of crazy what's going on. But I want you to see, it's harder to read. It's hard to read, hard to read. It's so small. Now, let me juxtapose this, especially if it's really small. Like, here's what works. This is one of our clients. Her name is Brenda. Look how big this is. It fills the entire thing. Let's look at all of them. These are so easy to read. So if you can stay with more of a bland background, a colorful one for sure, keep the busyness out of that. This tip alone is going to increase your engagement by 50%, because this is a mistake that so many people make, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's on Instagram. The sizes that I use 1080 by 1080. I use the same posters on all our platforms. They all work well. The only caveat is Twitter, because Twitter is skinnier, if that's the right word. So if you have I use square posters, 1080 by 1080. Twitter, my team will pick posters where the content is more in the middle because it can get chopped on Twitter. Twitter is not a focus of mine. Twitter is fine. There's too much fighting there. I'm okay if it gets chopped off on Twitter. You follow my line of logic? Okay, let me stop sharing. Questions, thoughts, anything burning, big highlights today. Think about pick a platform. If you just pick one, more power to you. As you're making posts, consider upgrading into these inspiring quotes. Not only do they engage people, the universe needs it. I'm a huge proponent of inspiring. Being willing to take the 5 marshmallows in 5 minutes or 3 months rather than shoveling the marshmallow in your mouth saying, yes, I got up a business post, because there's so much noise out now. It's even harder in the algorithms to grow your page on all platforms. They want you to buy ads and do all that stuff. They really do. And I don't know if you're in a place in that. A lot of us are one band women. These are just some strategies that will help you start growing your influence, whether you're choosing LinkedIn, whether you're choosing Facebook, whether you're choosing Instagram. Anything burning that anybody wants to say or ask.
I'd like to ask something.
Yeah, go Sue.
Thank you. It's great to see you, Sean.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
On a business Facebook, is it better to design your own post? Is that a lot better than sharing somebody else's post?
That's a great question. You want to have at least one of your original posts every few days. And the ratio of your post versus other posts, sorry, whoops, I did set the timer so I knew it was 10:55. The ratio is 3 of your original posts, 1 of someone being shared. Because you want more of, because over time they're going to go through your stuff, right? And they'll see all the things that you've posted. And when you do Facebook, you have to put up original quotes. You have to put up quotes that you made, that you created. LinkedIn, you don't. You can go grab stuff off Google. You can grab stuff. Every platform is so different. Twitter, you can grab stuff too. We like to use original stuff because of that conversation of congruency that we have throughout. Does that help with that? Yeah, even if you spend 1 month just putting up inspiring posts, try it. Try some things, throw some paint on the wall and start incorporating business maybe every 5th post, every 8th post, depending upon your time and what feels good for you, because you need to have joy. You need to have rest. You need to do what makes you feel good. Because if you're stressed and like it's a chore, your vibe you're going to get on your Facebook page is it is a chore, and people are going to go away from it like the 10-foot pole. Make sense? I knew this was going to go fast, guys. And here's what I'll do. I'll give you my contact. If you have a fast question, I'd be happy to answer in the next couple of days. So let me do this as we close. And you are welcome to send me some questions. And if I can answer them swiftly and succinctly, I will. Let's do this. Let's get out of here. Here we go. Let's make this big. I'm coming back. Thank you, General Motors. February 17th, it's going to be an hour and a half. This is our wheelhouse. This is where we shine. It's on. I assert that 90% of conflict and pain happens before you even open your mouth. 90%. So we look at some biology, we'll look at some anthropology around conflict resolution. We do some role playing. We do some really cool forgiveness work that as a leader, you take risks. And when you do your own internal forgiveness work, it gives you more power and you're more empowered to take risks. I took some big risks this week and I failed miserably. And I'm in this, I mean, they were big risks. And I'm in the process of forgiving myself for not knowing what I didn't know and being willing to take a risk. And that's a skill all on its own, eh?
Sean, what time is this on the 17th?
You know what? Maybe I don't know for sure. As soon as I throw to Nicole, she'll tell us. How's that? Let me just get through a couple more of these, okay? If you want to reach me, here's my email. We've got boot camps. Jim even sponsors boot camps. I do them in Detroit every year in August. High pressure media master boot camps that are exquisite. Well, as you get to know me, you'll see if it's a fit for you to come. It's really inexpensive. It's a $1,500 class and GM subsidizes. It's $97. Some other time we can talk about that. I just want to validate where we were and where we went. Well, here's where we started. We started in this conversation of what are you broadcasting? What's your congruency? And a lot of times it's really that simple. It's not that freaking deep. You can pick a platform and not have it be that horrible. And we played in new perceptions, getting some new ideas about influence and how to utilize Facebook, how to utilize the platform that feels good for you. Yes. And of course, we incorporated a little bit of fun. And what I love about this is I just want to say this is who we are as women business owners. We're not alone. We're in this together, and we're in this together. So let me stop. So our time is about done. Let me
Yay.
throw it. Yay. Let me throw it to you, Miss
Well,
Nicole. Well, thank you for
yes.
being here, guys.
Thank you, Dr. Sean, for a quick and fabulous session. But I know I saw in the chat, we walked away with a lot of ahas, even if they didn't end up in the chat, because no one wanted to stop and type. We were like, what did you say? So, I'm sure we all had those moments, but we didn't want to break from what to miss anything. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We are excited to see you again next month, February 17th. Mastering Conflict Resolution, 10 a.m. to 11:30. That will be a 90-minute session, ladies. So bring your coffee and your bagel or whatever you need, your fruit. But we're going to roll through that in 90 minutes. Registration is not yet up, but it will be up shortly. So save the date for now. 10 to 11:30, 10 to 11:30. Did I say 10 to 11:30 on February 17th? Okay, so let's do that. And here's the other thing. Here's some other dates I need you to save. Friday, February 4th, it's our Ladies Over Lunch networking event. 45 minutes. We do very brief but very effective breakout groups. We roll around and meet each other. We've had fun with this new format the last few months. It's been exciting. New members and guests. So you want February 4th. What time, Roseanne? 11. I always get this wrong. 11:30 or 12? 12. February 4th, 12 to 12:45. 12 to 12:45, February 4th. Registration is open. Last but not least, March 15th, Women's History Month. It's our annual Top 10 Michigan Business Women Awards program. Registration will be open shortly, but save the date and prepare for that March 15th. Thank you again, Dr. Sean. Thank you, GM. Make today amazing, ladies. Have a great one. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Nicole, stay on if you can, or she might have already left.
Did she leave already?
Okay, hang on, Roseanne. Yep.
Okay, I'll hang on.
Yep.
Thanks,
Bye, you guys.